A little girl lives in my parents' house. Posted by u/Whitney Wolf. Hey, everyone. In 2004 my mom and I moved into my stepdad's house. Some of the craziest, most unbelievable things have happened over the years, and as I was recalling some events to my husband, I realized I had forgotten some of them, probably out of fear. I thought this would be the best place to remember them all. I'll answer any questions you may have. Also, sorry this is so long. The first thing I can remember happening is the freezer door. It was a super innocent event and we didn't think anything of it at the time. We had gone grocery shopping, and after putting the frozen foods in the freezer, the door would close just fine, but once you turned your back, it was wide open again. This happened time and time again throughout the rest of the night. We checked multiple times to make sure a box or something wasn't in the way of the suction. There was no reason for it to open by itself. While watching TV in the living room, the channel would change, constantly. Not up a channel or down a channel, either. For example, if I were in the 40s, it would go to channel 3, or 5. I got a new bed, one of the ones where there are drawers along the bottom of it. 3 on each side. Because my bedroom was so little I had the bed pushed up against a wall, meaning that 3 of the 6 drawers were inaccessible. I was in the 4th or 5th grade at the time, aka too weak and little to move the bed myself. Random items of my mama started disappearing. One of her slippers, a couple CDs, and some other things I can't remember. We thought it was my stepbrother playing a dumb prank. One day we decided to rearrange my room, and after the bed was moved, for some reason, we opened up the middle drawer on the inaccessible side, and everything was in there. The slippers, CDs, and the most strange thing we found was a Ziploc bag of old, used, wax crayons that I never owned. I guess the next thing we noticed was the ceiling fan. My parents had a sailor theme in the living room, and attached to the ceiling fan chain was a lighthouse, which would sometimes swing a little if the fan were on high, but would swing around as if someone flicked it when the fan wasn't on. My mom, my friend and I were standing in the living room. We were talking about the lighthouse ceiling fan chain swinging, and I was applying chapstick, which I then put on the coffee table. The moment I put it down, I realized I should have put it in my pocket, but it was missing off the table. I said out loud, "Where is my chapstick?" and I shit you not, swear on everything, it appeared in midair, above the coffee table, and fell straight down, as if someone was holding it and dropped it. We all ran out of the room and none of us really talk about it to this day. My mom approached me one morning and told me not to lie to her and that she wouldn't be mad, just tell the truth. Once she realized I had no clue what she was talking about, she told me how the night before she woke up and heard a little girl's voice humming in her ear, as if she was standing next to the bed. My mom checked the entire house, including my room, to make sure it wasn't me. I didn't believe her at all. Until years later, while babysitting my grandmother, who then lived with them while they were away, I slept in my mom's bed, and awoke to a little girl humming in my ear. It was the scariest moment of my entire life. I was numb from fear and I think I passed out from it, because I don't remember falling back asleep. I remember being terrified, feeling every hair on my body standing straight up, and then, nothing. Morning. I haven't told anybody this happened. One night, my mom was cooking in the kitchen down the hall, and I was in my room. I heard the front door open, my dog jump around, greeting someone. I assumed it was my stepdad, and peered down the hall. I saw a man in overalls and a blue knit hat walking. No sooner than he turned the corner, my mom comes running down the hallway towards me, pale white, crying that she felt someone come behind her and say hi in her ear, but she was alone in the kitchen. We both ran to the living room, realized the driveway was empty, and waited in the empty driveway until my stepdad actually came home. To this day, we don't know who the man was that came into our home. If I can think of any more occurrences, I'll let you know. A little girl lives in my parents' house. Part 2. I used to have a friend who said she could see ghosts, and to be completely honest, I never believed her. One day, while walking in my neighborhood, we passed a cemetery and she said she could see someone walking along the tombstones, but again, I didn't believe her. I knew we had a ghost at this point, but I purposely didn't tell her about it. Later that night, at my house, my friend took a shower while my mom and I waited and hung out in the kitchen. The bathroom door was directly off the kitchen. You could hear the shower start running, and a couple minutes later, you could hear my friend arguing with someone. All of a sudden the bathroom door flies open and my friend, with a towel wrapped around her soaking wet body, poked her head out the door. She said, "If this little girl doesn't stop fucking with the water, what's up with her?" Again, I did not believe her. I instantly thought, wow, she is trying so hard to sell this whole, "I see ghosts" thing. That was until I realized my mom was standing there, staring at her, jaw dropped. My mom, very calmly, said, "Does she have dark, long hair?" And my friend said, "Yeah," and in unison they said, "And it covers half her face." My mom, "And a white dress." My friend, "It looks really old." Silence filled the house. My friend half smiled and said, "Well, she better stop fucking with the water." And closed the bathroom door again. The Boy in the Closet, posted by u/Deus Ex Machinist. When I was 10, my family moved into a house that was the original train station for the town in the late 1800s. We had been there about a week and everything seemed normal for the most part. My parents didn't have a key for any of the interior doors because they required a skeleton key. I should point out that the layout of the house was strange because the only way to get into my parents' room was to go through my room. Anyway, one morning at breakfast my dad was late waking up, but when he came to the table he started asking me who my friend was that stayed the night. I tried telling him that I didn't know anyone, but he was adamant that someone slept over. It took my mom and I a while to convince him that no one was in the house the night before. My dad, who wasn't one to be scared of anything, turned pale and was clearly uncomfortable. He told us that he saw a boy about my age walk out of his closet, so he got out of bed and followed him into my room, where the boy went into my closet and shut the door behind him. My dad said he knocked on the door lightly and told the boy to stay out of his bedroom and then went back to bed. The problem with that story is that we had just moved into that house. My parents had boxes stacked in front of their closet. The biggest issue though, is that both closets couldn't have been opened in the first place because our landlord hadn't gotten us a skeleton key yet. To this day my dad doesn't like to talk about that night. It still freaks him out. Years later I did some searching at the local library and found a microfiche of a newspaper that talked about a 9-year-old that died on the railroad tracks outside of the house when it was still the railroad station. Strange Occurrences, posted by u/Dreamon85. I'm 28-year-old arts graduate, currently working for a marketing firm. I live alone in a small studio apartment that faces a centuries-old Islamic cemetery. During COVID-19 lockdown I visited the cemetery very often out of boredom to feed birds there. Since the lockdowns have eased I gave up going there as I don't find much time these days. I've never had a supernatural experience before, but since I gave up going to cemetery, things have gotten really weird in my life. First, the wall clock stopped functioning all of a sudden. I tried changing battery but it didn't work. I bought a new wall clock that worked fine for a day but then stopped. I've tried changing 3 clocks but none of them worked for more than 8 to 12 hours, so I gave up. I've started hearing scratching sounds at night, like something scratching the wall with its nails. At first I thought it's my neighbor, but I spoke to him and he said he's been hearing them too and he thought I'm the one doing it. We're both spooked about them since he also lives alone. Things have started to disappear, like my headphones, spoons, stationery, books and other small items, and I always find them either under the bed or in the bathtub after a few days. Doorbell rings at night, every night. I checked the CCTV footage in building security office, no one. Last night I was woken up by loud banging on my apartment door. There's a very small gap between door and floor, and if someone's standing outside I always see their shadow. I did see a shadow, open the door and there was nothing. I called the building security to check who banged on my door. He checked the footage and there was no one. They think I'm imagining things after my repeated complaints. I've discussed this whole situation with my neighbor, who has become a friend too, and we both are now thinking to seek help from our local church. If you guys can suggest something, it'll be of great help.
Thanks for watching. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe for more videos.